Well, hey, living environment friends, fans. It's Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend, and I'm looking forward to the weekend, but the weekend's already started for me, kind of. I'm not here in today. I had an appointment I had to attend to. So, luckily, there's a substitute teacher for me who will help you with the things that you need to do. But, yeah, let's do today's Bellringer first. Then in class today, you've got an Ed puzzle lesson. And then, of course, I put some notes for you to do about cell membranes. So those are the three things you need to accomplish today, all right, during class. Let's get this Bellringer done first.
All right. Hey now. Mr. Kovacs class. It's Mr. Kovacs class. You might learn a ton. It's Mr. Kovacs class.
He's interesting too.
It's Mr. Kovacs class. And he's super cool. It's Mr. Kovacs class.
All right, by now you know that we call the cell membrane the fluid mosaic model. Fluid mosaic. Fluid, right, means it's always moving, right? And mosaic means it's made up of lots of different pieces put together to make the whole thing. Fluid mosaic model, right? The pieces that are involved, well, most of the membrane is lipid, these phospholipids that are arranged in a bilayer, a two-layer, almost like a bread on a sandwich. And then proteins, and some carbohydrates as well, and even some other lipids, right? And they all kind of work together to help the cell membrane do its job, which is basically to control what goes into and out of the cell, right? And I think I mentioned it, cell membrane's pretty tough, and it's pretty resilient. You know, its fluidity makes it hard to get through. And yeah, most things can't get through the cell membrane very easily. Only a couple things can get through the cell membrane easily, and those things are like oxygen gas can easily move between the lipid bilayer. Carbon dioxide can move pretty easily as well. Even like some vitamins can move, and minerals can move through. Vitamins primarily can move through pretty easily if they're lipid soluble. But like most things can't, because of the fact that the heads of the cell membrane phospholipids are polar, right? So like water molecules, which are small, like really teeny tiny molecules, they can't actually slip through the membrane. They get stuck on the surface, all right? So there's another way that cell membranes help get things through is through what's called facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion, which is where chemicals move through the membrane, but they have to go through an opening, a channel, right? Like a doorway or a gate, right? An opening, right? This is water, right? Water moves through aquaporins, which are proteins that are basically just channels for water to get through, right? So aquaporins, they move through. What's interesting is we call the movement of water is called osmosis. And we're gonna learn about how water moves compared to solutions on either side through osmosis. But when water osmosizes, it goes through an aquaporin channel. Now that doesn't take any energy. It just needs an opening, right? Flow through. Diffusion doesn't take any energy. Passive diffusion, facilitated diffusion doesn't take any energy. We call those both passive transport. However, every once in a while you need to push something through against the grain, so to speak, right? There's more of it outside than inside, and that's called active transport, and that requires a lot of cellular energy. I'll give you an example, right? Like if you had a closet full of ping pong balls and you opened up the closet door, it wouldn't take much effort for ping pong balls to fall out all over the floor, right? But if you were to take all those ping pong balls that are now on the floor and try to smush them back into a closet, that would take a lot more effort, because you'd be trying to close the door and some would be falling out, and you'd be trying to work it would be a mess, right? So that's active transport, is pushing the balls back into the closet. Passive transport is just letting the door open and the lulls fall out. All right, so you need to know those three different types of transport. You've got diffusion, facilitated diffusion. Those are both passive. And then you have what's called active transport, which requires energy. Passive, no energy. Active requires energy. And the example I gave was like ping pong balls in a closet full of ping pong balls. If you open the doorway, it doesn't take much for them to fall out, right? That's passive. But if you wanted to push them back in, right, that's going to take a lot more energy and it's going to be a lot harder. That's active transport. All right, so you have three things to do today. You've done number one because you're finished this Bellringer right now. Number two, you're going to watch Ed Puzzle video about the catalase lab to remind you. And catalase lab is due next week, and so you can always work on that if you have time during class. The third thing you have to do today is I have some notes about cell membranes for you to read and take notes, and then remember, you turn them in and save them to your notes folder. And then, of course, the next chapter of our book talk, the final book talk from this book is going to be next week. And so I've already put that on the classroom for you to work on. So I expect that you'll behave and expect good reports from my son when I return next week. Have a good Friday, everybody. Friday.